Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings. Everton 0, Newcastle United 0. I'll be honest, happy to take the point. Didn't think it was a particularly good game from our point of view. Thought we allowed them to have far too much of the ball. And they had plenty of chances, didn't they? Including a missed penalty, which is good that sort of was the narrative for the game. Jordan Pickford won us a point. Anthony Gordon missed the opportunity to score past us. So quite happy in that respect. I didn't think we played particularly well. We didn't make too many chances. As I said, I think we allowed them far too much of the ball, and at times they cut us open, but luckily enough, without too much damage. Jordan Pickford didn't have too many saves to make. So yeah, we take the point. That's three games unbeaten. Luckily, 5 points out of the last 3 games. Again, not terrible, although I think we should have beat Leicester personally. Yeah, I'm just glad for the point, if I'm honest. Sorry, just trying to get the comments on me little screen there. Yeah, just one of those games, one of those days. If you can't win them, don't lose them. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? And I think today we've done well. They'll be pissed off with the fact that they couldn't beat us. And it's, come back on them a little bit. The fact that he's missed the penalty. So I'd take that all day long. Jordan Pickford, obviously, he saved the penalty, which was obviously the key moment of the game. Didn't have loads to do apart from that. Early on, he took, there was a couple of corners, and he come and punched one, and then come and caught one. And I thought that sort of settled everyone down a little bit, probably including his own defence as well. I thought that did. I thought it just settled everyone down a little bit. And I thought they were just important moments, just to, yeah, as I said, just calm us down, calm him down, calm his players down. I think they were big. And then the penalty, he made it as difficult as he could in terms of he slowed the game down, a few little, trying to get inside Gordon's head. He's played obviously in the same team as him. He knows, well, he said he knew that he would be going to that side. So it was good from him as well. And it was, as I said, I don't think he had loads to do. Don't think he had too many big saves, and as I said, he just got on with his game today. And again, there's always loads of nonsense from the Newcastle fans when it came to, when it comes to Pickford, they downgraded. I noticed today they downgraded from a dinosaur suit to only bringing a dinosaur balloon, which that's a big step for them. Unless time's a little bit tough and they couldn't really. I mean, what do you do? Do you buy them dinosaur suits or do you rent them? Because you're only using them twice. As a Newcastle fan, you're only using it twice a year, aren't you? Unless you're thinking of renting it out to maybe some Liverpool fans. I don't know. So do you just keep it in the loft? Do you go and do some kids' birthday parties with it? I don't know what you're doing. So, but today was just balloons today, just balloons for Jordan Pickford. So there you go. As I said, he didn't have loads to do, but I think it's massive that obviously he did. It is obviously massive that he did save the penalty. So I would give. I'll give Jordan Pickford 8.5 for today. And it might be higher if he had to actually had to do more. But yeah, 8.5, as I said, those important early stages of the game were key for me. So at 8.5 for him. The back four obviously massively changed. Posh Matty, I don't know if they're a fiver from Timo, mate. I haven't looked into inflatable dinosaurs. I don't know, mate. Maybe they are. I don't know. I have not looked into the dinosaur, inflatable dinosaur, situation. So, I'll take your word for it. But they are fair play. Then you would buy one, wouldn't you? But why aren't you wearing it to the match? I don't know. James Garner back in at right back, obviously with Ashley Young having to go to left back because of the Michalenko injury. I thought he had a good game today. 6 out of 9 ground duels, 1 out of 2 aerial duels. Big early on. Look, Harvey Barnes with the way they play today. I would love to see Everton play this way. I would love to see Everton playing with. When they go wide, they go in a 2 on each side, the fullback and the winger, and they go as a pair. I would love to see Everton play like that. They've got pace, and they make it really difficult for the fullback, and then they try and drag the wide man in as well, and almost like suffocate you. And early on, I think that early on it was a little bit difficult because we were getting outnumbered. And there was a couple of times they got inside, but I thought James Garner for most of the game he calmed down. He got a grip of the game, and I thought he did have a good game. I thought he kept the shape really well, allowed them to the amount of time. I think it was a few times. I don't know how many, but a few times they seemed to get the ball inside them, but he was doing the right thing to make sure they were offside. And I thought he had a good game. I'll just show you this heat map here that you can see his heat map. And obviously our fullbacks don't really get forward, which is a major bugbear of mine. We are massively defensive. And you can see there he's having to do a lot of defending around our box. And he can play there. Listen, he's a good footballer. He's got he's intelligent. He knows what he needs to do. And I thought he had a really good, solid game. And he looks a little bit fitter now. He looks a little bit more up to speed. So for me, I did think he'd had a good game today. So fair play to him, because it's not always easy. And as I said, the way they play with the two literally bombing forward together. And it makes a bit of a mockery, but when you're talking about footballers, they had basically a centre back playing left back who was basically playing like a left winger, and that does make a mockery of when we talk about football and what players can and can't do. Hall for them, it just shows you what modern footballers can do if they're given a chance and they're coached well. So fair play to him. That's what we should be doing, but we don't. Stay really deep, and it is a real bugbear of mine when it comes to the way we play. We are just so well, yeah. It's just the style's just not good enough as far as I'm concerned. So James Garner, I would give a 7.7 for today's game. Ashley Young on the other side, 2 out of 3 ground duels, 1 out of 1 aerial duels. Again, thought he was very solid. Again, a player who just got to know his limitations. There was 1 or 2 times where, I think it was in the first half, the ball was just like dropped into no man's land, and he went for it. It was like, no, you're not going to win that. You're not Ashley Young of 10 years ago. You're not Ashley Young of 5 years ago. Hold your position. Just sit in there. And for the most part, he does. He's an intelligent player. He knows what it's just that thing of like, you you know your limitations, and you'll be fine. And I thought him for the most part did okay today. Listen, you could probably forensically rip his performance apart today if you wanted to, but I thought he had a quite a solid game, and no major mistakes. And again, it's one of those where I think there's always a lot of trepidation when Ashley Young plays. People don't want him to play, and I think he does come. I say this every week. He comes on. I think he comes in for a lot of undeserved criticism. Ashley Young, is he who we'd want to play at left back or at right back for Everton? No, he's not. But he does the job. And again, he played 90 minutes today. He's just fit. He's just fit. He's just fit as a fiddle, isn't he? He really is fit as a fiddle. And he done a job today. No issues whatsoever for me, for Ashley Young. So just show you this heat map there, as you can see again. Similar to, although he did get a little bit more a little bit further forward, probably to take some throws. Loves a sweeping ball back to the goalkeeper, by the way. Absolutely loves it. But I thought he was fine today. No issues at all for Ashley Young. So Ashley Young, I would give a 7 for today's performance. James Tarkowski, couple of little. I mean, again, I can't be too critical. 6 out of 7 ground duels won, 2 out of 2 aerial duels won. Again, pretty steady today. Couple of moments where you could, again, up against pace. Couple of little moments, but I can't criticise that back four too much when we've just got a clean sheet. And they've been pretty steady. Although was it Tarky who gave the penalty away? That obviously big moments in the game. It was Tarky, wasn't it? Someone let me know in the comments. I've sort of forgotten because I was at the match, and things happen all very, very quickly. You don't always get a true sense of what's going on. Was it him on the gambler? Yes, it was. It was. So stupid holding in the box. Maybe a lot of the times you do get away with that kind of thing, but we didn't today. Not VAR nowadays. You're not going to get away with that kind of thing. And when it came up, I looked at my phone and I could see straight away. I could see a few people saying that's a penalty. That's stupid. At the match, you don't always get a true sense as balls flying over where we haven't got instant replays and that kind of thing while we're watching the game. So, but then when he went to the VAR asking, it was no surprise to me that he did give it, with what I'd seen on what was coming through on my phone. So stupid for that. As I said, you might get away with that kind of thing, but with VAR now, it's near impossible. So that could have been a game. That could have been a complete game changer, couldn't it? If obviously Jordan Pickford hadn't saved the penalty. So I would give Tarkowski. Apart from that, he had a pretty perfect game, pretty near perfect. No, I mean not perfect. You know what I mean. But he had a pretty steady game. Apart from that, so James Tarkowski, I would give a. I'll give him a 7 for his performance today. But he is quite lucky. He is quite lucky. Well, no. Actually, no. I'll give him a 6.5 because that could have cost us massively, couldn't it? Michael Keane. I thought Michael Keane had a really steady game today. A pretty good game today. He was first to everything. I think it helped that they didn't have any kind of they didn't have any kind of physical players playing up front. I think that really helped. 46 touches, 91% 91% accuracy. Only one aerial duel and he won it. But he did. There was a lot of headers. I thought he had a good game today, Michael Keane. I thought he was solid. He was first there. You could see a desire to win the ball. Every time there was an opportunity. I thought he had a really solid game and probably his best Everton performance for a long time. I think it was important today with all of the sort of doom and gloom around the fact that Jared Branthwaite wasn't playing, and there was the back four was looking a bit ropey. I think it was important that he had a really solid game, and he did have a solid game. His passing was quite good, 6 out of 7 long balls, which whether you like the way we play or not, if we play that way, it's important that there's a bit of accuracy involved in it. And I thought he had one of his most commanding games for a while, Michael Keane. So fair play to him. He does take a lot of stick, and it's not always because of the way he plays. It's more down to the fact that bad things just seem to happen when he plays. But I did think he had a good game today. So I would give Michael Keane a 7.8 for today's performance. Iliman Ndiaye, not his best game. Only 24 touches, although he had 94% pass accuracy. Only won 1 of his 5 ground duels. I thought they were a lot snappier and a lot quicker in midfield. They were on the front foot. I thought Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes in there were good. They look strong and they look quick over the ground. And you could see that was the difference, really. And I just didn't think Mangala really got into the game at all. Only lasted 57 minutes. Obviously, he was our first sub. But it was good that the manager was proactive in that. He just didn't have the same game that he's had in maybe the last couple of games where he's played against worse opposition, let's be honest. You can just see his heat map there. They were just quicker and they were a little bit more punchier in midfield. They've got better players. They've got better players than what we've played against. It's as simple as that. They've got better players. And they showed that today. And it was it wasn't an easy game for him. It was a tough game for him. So I would give him a 6. No, and 6. I give him a 6 for today's performance. Alongside him, Abdoulaye Doucouré. I wouldn't have started Doucouré, but I can see why he started him probably more because of his height than anything else. Unlucky not to get the opening goal. I mean, he was offside. This is the kind of offside that I don't like. I think this is the kind of offside that we need to get rid of when the two players are basically together. And that's not just because of the goal today. I've been quite consistent on that. I like the one, the trialing with Wenger, where if the two players are basically next to each other, and there's some part of the player onside, then he's onside. I'd have that offside, but that doesn't matter. He was offside. I'm not complaining. It would have been a nice goal as well. 5 out of 10 ground duels, 1 out of 1 aerial duels. For me, though, I think he just hasn't got the legs. He just hasn't got the legs to play. Maybe in that against kind of midfield like Newcastle's. Not saying he had a bad game, by the way. I just don't think he's got the legs. You can see his heat map there, a lot more active, a lot more, all over the pitch. Certainly the Mangala, you can see the spot on the right hand side, and again, it's maybe because of the aerial presence. Although again, they did the back post corner, which we conceded the one from last week and nearly conceded another. And if it wasn't for Ndiaye sort of getting something on the line, Guimaraes would have scored, and I think that was his man. So he's not necessarily the player I want to see in there, but the manager's put him in for the last couple of games. Maybe when they come back from international break, the manager might decide to change it. I'm not sure, but the core I would give a 6.8 for today's performance. Dwight McNeil, yeah, I mean, again, not Dwight's best game. We talked about last week and the goals and getting on the ball. That just didn't really happen today. He had a couple of shots from outside the box, that speculative shots that he never really got the range of and pushed wide. 2 dribble attempts, 2 successful dribble attempts. Ground duels won only 3 out of 8. I just never thought the way we played today, we never used them. Everything was long ball. And when we go long, even if we win it, he's not quick enough. Again today, what it illustrated to me is that the lack of pace in our team. When you go up against a team that's got loads of pace, and we have very little pace, and I think it shows on games like this. And I think that's where Dwight McNeil, he'll struggle in games like this because he's not quick enough to cover the ground. He doesn't sit naturally. I mean, there was times in the second half it was almost like a 4-4-2 and he was pushed right up. But I don't think he naturally knows where to run off like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Whereas I think when Decore played there last season, he did. So it's a work in progress. As I said, it wasn't his best game. 38 touches, 85% pass accuracy. Wasn't in the game enough, and the game passed him by in big moments. Just show you this heat map there, and once again you can see he does favour that right hand side, so he can try and get it onto his left foot, but it never really happened. And when he did get the 2 shots off, they were more central, so he's almost like cutting across the ball. Whereas the one last week, he's coming on from the right hand side, and he's curling it back in, where these ones were like the ones where he comes from the left-hand side and he's almost got to kick them straight across the goal. I don't think that's his favourite one, because you can't get any bend on them. You want to be starting on the right-hand side. So it wasn't particularly a good game for Dwight today, but it's just one of them. It is what it is. So I would give Dwight McNeil a 6.3 for today. Jack Harrison played 68 minutes, had a couple of little moments, 38 touches, 76% pass accuracy. Again, on the edges of the game. He loves picking the ball up. I just see the sheet map here. He just loves picking the ball up in that area, doesn't he? Just inside that half, where you want him to be picking it up, on the edge of their box. 38 touches, 76% pass accuracy. Dribble attempts 3, only 1 successful. No shots on target, no shots off target. And again, just not in the game enough. This is a major issue with him, is that he's just not in the game enough. He doesn't offer enough. And it is massively frustrating that he just, he came on last week and he had a really good second half last week, but today there's just not enough there from him. He just doesn't do enough. He's so frustrating as a player. He really is. So he has his moments. He loves that trying to, just said that twice. He loves to try and get that ball first time and kill it, and that gives him almost the yard of pace that he doesn't actually have, by bringing the ball down quick and then moving it. But he's so frustrating the amount of times he does that, brings inside, then just hits the first man. And I've said before that right wing, we are not good enough on that right hand wing. We need something else. And obviously, we know how disappointing Lindstrom was last week, and obviously that's why the manager has brought him back into the side this week, but he didn't really offer anything. So I would give him a 6.2 for today's performance. On the other side, Ndiaye, he really is the bright spot of our team. 45 touches, 82% pass accuracy. Crosses 2, both accurate. Dribble attempts, I mean, this is the difference. Dribble attempts 10, 5 successful. That's the difference between Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison, Lindstrom, and whoever else, is that Ndiaye picks the ball up, and the first thought he has in his head is, I am going to take these on. I'm going to beat the player. And he had a brilliant little tussle with Trippier today. But then, but the other side of his game, 15 ground duels, he wins 8 of them. Aerial duels, he wins 2 out of 2. He works his bollocks off as well. He gets stuck in, and he cleared one off the line as well for the second week in a row. So he does his defensive duties. He's such a good player, and he gets everybody going, and it's brilliant to see. It's honestly, I think he's a brilliant little find. I know he wasn't necessarily a find because he'd already played in English football, but I honestly believe he for the money we've paid for him, he doesn't half elevate our team in terms of in attacking presence. And as just that many attempts, 5 dribble success. I mean, if you were having 10 and you have 5, those 5 could be every time could be leading to a goal or a free kick or a corner. He just picks it up, and all he wants to do is run at people. And this close control is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I've seen something before. I don't know whether that he played futsal as a kid, and that's where he developed his skills. And you can see that. You can see that massively because his close control is brilliant, and he fancies basically anyone that he's going up against. He really does. It's brilliant to watch. I really do. I love watching him, really, because he's not one of those players that when he picks up, when Jack Harrison picks up the ball, number one, he ain't gonna dribble past anyone like that. But automatically, you just think, what he's gonna do. He's gonna get on. He's gonna go on his right and then cut in on his left. Where in Ndiaye, you never know what he's going to do. And it's not like, he probably doesn't know what he's going to do. I imagine he does know what he's going to do because he's got a bag of tricks. And it is brilliant to watch. I really love watching him. So, Ndiaye, I give a 7.9 for today's performance. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, tough game for him because the service was abysmal. Again, very little width. Just long ball smashed into him. But I did think that, number one, I thought the one on the penalty. Let's just talk about the penalty a moment. On the penalty, for me, this is 2 in a row now that he's not got a Goodison. There's different angles of this. But I still think it's a penalty. I think if a defender gets in the way of a player striking a ball and doesn't get the ball, then it's a penalty. I can't see how. It's a foul. I can't see why it's not a foul. You've not stopped the player legally. You've put your body in the way of him connecting with the ball. I remember Gomez given away a penalty against Newcastle at Newcastle's ground. I think it was during lockdown. The same kind of thing. His body got in the way. Last season, I seen Anthony Gordon win a penalty for Newcastle by doing the same thing. He went to kick the ball, and the opposition player, I think it was West Ham or something like that, the opposition went to kick the ball at the same time, and he kicked the West Ham player, and it was a penalty. If that's the rule, then that's 2 penalties we should have had at Goodison Park. And I know people go, well, he kicked it, but it's Dan Burns slid in, the same one that we had against, was it Brighton? They've slid in to stop the player, and he's kicked them. Now, before that, Dom should have scored, and Aziz Gay should score anyway. But to me, that's a penalty. If you don't win the ball, or you're not even trying to get the ball, and you stop someone from kicking the ball, how is it not a foul? I just don't get that rule, and I don't get when it changed because it's been there for a while. So for me, that's a penalty. I thought at times Dom should have done better in his closing down. To show his heat map there. So he's all over. He really is all over the front line, but just not enough in our box, and that goes down to the way we play. Dom Dom's had 2 shots on target. Obviously, the goalie saved that one, and he had one in the first half with it was a good run, and then the goalie, it wasn't really a hard shot. 12 aerial duels, only won 4. That's good because he's up against Dan Burn. Ground duels, 1 out of 6. I think that is an area he needs to do better. I thought today, I do understand. I do get, obviously, the it's tough playing up front on your own, but I also believe that he has to do a little bit better for me at times. He has to do a little bit better closing the ball down. He has to do a little bit better. He has to be a little bit angrier. The style of play is crap. Let's be honest. The style of play is absolutely dross. It doesn't help him, I don't think, as a centre forward. Just basically chasing after the ball, or trying to win the long ball. But there are times, I've said this a million times, Dom's not aggressive enough for me. He's not aggressive enough. And I think that, again, today showed he has to be a little bit more aggressive. The referee Pawson was terrible today. He literally just gave them Anthony Gordon. How Anthony Gordon didn't get booked for diving today, I'll never know. He threw himself on the floor at every opportunity. And that's why, again, I was made up he missed the penalty. Because he was diving left, right and centre today. It was embarrassing to watch. It really was, the amount of diving. But I do think, I personally, I think it's a penalty. I think that's a penalty. But it's again the same penalty. How'd you get the same penalty twice? And it's the same thing for me. And I just believe that that's a penalty in football. If a player puts himself in front of the ball that you're trying to strike and you strike him instead, it's a penalty. So anyway, yeah, the referee was abysmal. I'd just like to see Dom be a little bit more, as I said, physical. I thought he's as good as he is in the air today. Dan Brown is good in the Dan Brown. He wrote the Da Vinci Code. What is he doing playing for Newcastle? Dan Burn was always going to beat him. 7 out of 10 times or something like that. But it is what it is. It is what it is. That style of play, I just hate this. I'll be honest, I do hate the way we play. It's garbage. It's garbage. And that comes down to one man dictates how we play. I think if we were getting flying forwards and flying full backs, and we were getting men forward, and we'd create a lot more. We just don't create enough opportunities. I always find it really hard to judge centre forwards in our team, whether it be Dom or Beto at times, with the amount of service they get. I think it's pitiful, the amount of service they get. But Dom didn't have a particularly good game today, don't get me wrong, but he should have had a penalty. So I would give Dom a 6.5 for today. The subs, Tarkowski and Keane come off the last 33 minutes, 29 touches, 65% the pass accuracy. Never really got into the game. Had a couple of moments, but just came in to shore it up. And as I said, I don't think he had but he did all right, but it wasn't anything to write home about. 6.4 for the Tarkowski and Keane. Although he did absolutely miss a sitter. How can I forget him missing an absolute sitter when Dom had gone down? And that makes the score a 6. I apologise, a 6. He had a couple of shots, but that was a sitter. He's like 5 yards out, and he blasted it over the bar. And what made it worse was he scored a couple of great goals last season. I thought suddenly he was. An amazing goal scorer. Listen, he didn't do anything. Didn't do anything particularly wrong in terms of the game. He came on and just held the shape. So, and because him and Tim Edabunam came on not long after, and the whole midfield changed. So, a Tarkowski and Keane, I'd give a 6.4 for for, but it was a dreadful miss. Tim Burnham again came on, as I said, last 22 minutes, 10 touches of the ball. Again, really hard to judge in the time. Didn't really get too much on the ball. I think we'll start to see. We'll Tim will be in and out of the team, and I think he's got to just learn that position, I think, a little bit more. And when he does, I think he'll be in there because he's got everything really in terms of like athleticism and pace and good on the ball. It's just difficult when you come on and we haven't got the ball. Again, he's another one who suffers from, I think, the way we play because we don't get on the ball. Again, I put that style down to the manager. We allow the other team to have the ball. We're almost like, well, this has been said before. We're like a lower league team, aren't we? When we play good sides, we just sit off and hope for moments, to break on the ball and stuff. So Tim, didn't do anything particularly wrong, but again, didn't really suit his skill set. So I'll give him 6.6. And that was it, wasn't it? We didn't put anyone else on. No one like Jesper Lindström obviously didn't get an opportunity. Don played the full 90. So it was what it was. In the end, I don't know whether we were lucky. Did we deserve? I mean, I suppose we deserved the point. They only had one shot on target, or a couple of shots on target, but the style of footy's crap. Let's get it right. The style of footy's crap. There's no point mixing, it's rubbish, and it doesn't help certain people. It doesn't help Dom up front. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, would you rather have Beto in the team or anyone else in the team? We don't create many chances, let's be honest. So I personally think we've got a few players who could do a lot better in this team with a manager who was a lot more progressive. But we don't. We've settled for this. We've settled for doing what we're doing this season. I don't think it's going to change. Can't imagine it will change. But it is what it is. So I'll take that. I'll take a point today. I'll take Anthony Gordon looking like a tit. And we'll see. We're back in a couple of weeks, aren't we? So, and we've got a run of games that we have to be picking up points. Not we need to pick up points. We have to pick up points because these are the games that define our season. Because there are teams, some of them are in and around us. Some of them are teams that we should be picking up points from at home. And obviously before, as we go October, November, ahead of like December, which is obviously got lots of really good, we're up against really top sides. So there you go. Make sure you go and check out, if you haven't already, my Gwladys Street reaction. Some good stuff on that, including Anthony Gordon's missed penalty, which should just be all enough for everyone to go and watch it, if I'm perfectly honest. Make sure you check out Baz's videos as well. We'll be back on Monday, 1:15, live on YouTube, and then on Toffee TV Premier for the final word. So make sure you join us then. But go and check out Baz's videos anyway. And I'll see you later.